Sometimes, the person who walks into your life carrying the most baggage is the person who ends up carrying your heart. And sometimes, a child who has spent years wondering if anyone will ever choose him becomes the reason two lonely adults finally find a family. When Emma walked into the expensive restaurant holding the hand of her adopted son, Noah, she already knew the blind date was probably a mistake. What she didn't know was that the billionaire waiting at the table wasn't going to fall for her alone. He was about to fall for the little boy who had taught her what real love meant. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to Kindness Story, like this video, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more stories about kindness, hope, and second chances. Emma Carter was 32 years old and had never cared much about money. She worked as a school counselor in a small town outside Chicago, where she spent most of her days helping children who felt invisible. 3 years earlier, Emma had adopted 8-year-old Noah. Noah had spent the first years of his life moving from one foster home to another. He was quiet, nervous, and always afraid that people would eventually leave him. The first time Emma met him, he wouldn't look at her. She sat beside him on a bench and simply said, "You don't have to talk to me. I'll just sit here." They sat together for almost an hour. Finally, Noah whispered, "Are you going to leave too?" Emma's heart broke. "No," she said softly. "Not unless you want me to." That was the beginning of their family. Years passed, and Noah slowly changed. He laughed more. He played soccer. He started doing well in school. But he still carried one deep fear, that one day Emma would find someone she loved more than him. One Friday evening, Emma's best friend Sarah convinced her to try online dating. "You spend your whole life taking care of everyone else," Sarah told her. "You deserve someone who takes care of you too." Emma reluctantly agreed. That's how she met Daniel Brooks. Daniel was 40 years old, extremely successful, and the owner of a technology company worth hundreds of millions of dollars. His profile said almost nothing about himself. But when Emma told Sarah about him, she immediately arranged a dinner. There was only one problem. Emma refused to go without Noah. "I don't leave him with strangers," she said. Sarah laughed. "Emma, you're going on a date, not moving across the country." So Emma decided to bring Noah. When they entered the restaurant, Daniel was already waiting. He stood as they approached. "Emma?" "Yes." Daniel smiled politely. "It's nice to meet you." Then he looked at Noah. "And you must be Noah." Noah nodded. Emma expected Daniel to look uncomfortable. Instead, Daniel pulled out a chair. "Would you like to sit here?" Noah looked surprised. "Really?" "Of course." The dinner began awkwardly. Daniel talked about business. Emma talked about school. Noah quietly ate his fries. Then Daniel noticed Noah wasn't eating his vegetables. "You don't like broccoli either?" Daniel asked. Noah looked up. "You don't?" Daniel smiled. "I hated it when I was your age." For the first time that evening, Noah laughed. Soon, the three of them were talking like old friends. Daniel discovered that Noah loved superheroes, baseball, and chocolate milk. Noah discovered that Daniel had once been the worst player on his elementary school baseball team. But then Noah asked a question that changed everything. "Do you have kids?" Daniel became quiet. "No." "Why?" Emma gently interrupted. "Noah." But Daniel shook his head. "It's okay." He looked at Noah. "I guess I was always too busy building my company. I thought I'd have time later." Noah nodded thoughtfully. "Later doesn't always come." Daniel froze. Those words hit him harder than Noah could have known. After dinner, Daniel walked them to their car. "Thank you for tonight," Emma said. Daniel smiled. "No, thank you." Then he looked at Noah. I had a great time. Noah smiled back. As Emma drove home, Noah stared out the window. Mom? Yes? I like him. Emma smiled. You barely know him. I know. Noah paused. But he looked at me like I mattered. Emma's eyes filled with tears. A few days later, Daniel called Emma. He didn't ask her for another date. Instead, he asked if Noah would like to attend a baseball game. Emma hesitated. Daniel noticed. I don't want to cross any boundaries, he said. I just enjoyed talking to him. So they went. Then came another outing. Then another. Daniel began spending time with both of them. He never tried to buy Noah's affection. He never used his money to impress him. He simply showed up. When Noah had a school play, Daniel sat in the front row. When Noah got nervous before a soccer game, Daniel was there. When Noah struggled with homework, Daniel sat at the kitchen table and helped him. One night, Noah finally asked the question he'd been afraid to ask. Are you going to leave? Daniel looked at him. No. You promise? Daniel took a deep breath. I can't promise what tomorrow will bring. But I can promise that I'm not going anywhere today. And tomorrow, I'll choose to be here again. Noah nodded. Then he hugged Daniel. It was the first time he had ever hugged him. Emma watched from the doorway, crying silently. Months later, Daniel took Emma and Noah back to the same restaurant where they had first met. After dinner, he stood. He looked at Emma. I thought I was looking for someone to share my life with. Emma smiled through tears. But I found two people. Then Daniel knelt. He didn't just ask Emma to marry him. He looked at Noah. Noah, I know I can never replace anyone from your past. But if you'll let me, I'd like to be your family too. Noah's eyes filled with tears. He ran into Daniel's arms. Emma covered her mouth as tears streamed down her face. That night, Daniel learned something money had never taught him. A family isn't created by wealth, blood, or a perfect life. A family is created by people who choose each other. Emma had brought her adopted son to a blind date because she refused to hide the most important part of her life. And Daniel didn't see Noah as an obstacle. He saw him as a gift. Years later, Noah would tell people that the best thing that ever happened to him wasn't being adopted. It was being chosen again and again. And Daniel would always say the same thing. I thought I was giving a little boy a family. I didn't realize he was giving me one. Sometimes kindness doesn't look like a grand gesture. Sometimes it's simply sitting beside someone who is afraid. Sometimes it's showing up. Sometimes it's opening your heart to a child who believes nobody will stay. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can change 3 lives forever. So if you have the chance to make someone feel seen today, do it. If someone needs a little patience, give it. If someone feels forgotten, remind them they matter. Because you never know. The person you help today might become the person who changes your life tomorrow. And just like Noah learned, everyone deserves to be chosen, loved, and reminded that they are worth staying for.